Rihanna was like, I just wanted to be her.
So my parents were like, be realistic. Like, you need to work. This can be a hobby.
Y'all, this drama between Tyla and Rihanna just took a crazy turn, and trust me, this isn't just about music, it's about power, image, and who really gets to run the global pop game. Because Tyla's finally speaking out in ways that sound like shade, calling out how Rihanna's shadow might be holding her career back, and how fans are now convinced we're really seeing the tension between the two. Ooh, make me sweat, make me holla, make me lose my breath with the drama. But before we get too deep, let me set the stage, because what we're about to dive into, it's not just about Tyla versus Rihanna, it's about an entire industry playing chess with these two women's careers. And we about 4 or 5 seconds from wildin'. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, if you've been paying attention, Tyla came into the spotlight like a storm after her track Water went viral on TikTok in 2023. Water. That record didn't just chart, it cracked the Billboard Hot 100 and earned her a Grammy for Best African Music Performance. Overnight, she became South Africa's global pop princess. But here's where things get messy. Fans immediately clocked T's and started to compare her to Rihanna. The style, the swag, even her hair. Pics like this one had people clowning Tyla for looking like she was cosplaying Rihanna's old looks. And y'all know how savage the internet can get. And folks didn't hold back, calling her a copycat, an industry plant, even accusing her team of using Rihanna's playbook bar for bar, word for word. But Tyla didn't just sit back and laugh it off. Early on, she said it straight. Rihanna is Rihanna. It's a compliment, but at the same time, I'm my own artist. I'm Tyla. And I know as people get to know me and my music, they will see me as just Tyla. Now that might sound polite, but if you read between the lines, she's basically saying, stop putting me in Rihanna's shadow. I'm tired of y'all acting like I don't have my own identity. And when she doubled down with the post about people secretly recording her conversations, fans took it as her throwing shade at the industry and at Rihanna herself for keeping her boxed in as the next Riri. She said, talking to me while secretly recording is so weird. I can see the lens, baby. So here's the thing. Rihanna ain't innocent in this either. Around the same time, Riri posted one of her cryptic quotes on Instagram. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. And fans instantly connected the dots that she must have been warning Tyla to stay in her lane. Or was she just laughing off the idea that anyone could replace her? I mean, y'all, she could have been talking about anything and anybody, but it got deeper, because when you start to look at the way that Epic Records is marketing Tyla and the way the industry has moved in the past, it's not hard to wonder if Rihanna's jealousy, or at least her refusal to co-sign, might actually be blocking Tyla's growth. But let's really talk about it. From the viral rise of Water, to the Rihanna copycat claims, to the subtle shade in the industry sabotage whispers, this story has it all. And by the end, you're gonna see why people are convinced that Rihanna is low-key trying to make sure that Tyla never reaches her full potential. But when Tyla dropped Water in 2023, nobody expected it to take over the globe like it did. The track blended out piano and R&B and Afro beats, and that mix just hit different. But what really pushed it into viral territory wasn't just the music, it was the performance. Tyla and her choreographer posted that TikTok where she's sliding across the floor, pouring water on herself and hitting that Bacardi-inspired dance, that pop, pop, pop. Within weeks, the challenge was everywhere, and Tyla went from local Southern African star to an international name overnight. The song went on to crack the Billboard Hot 100's top 10, peaking at number 7 in January 2024. And Tyla even took home the first ever Grammy Award for Best African Music Performance. And just like that, she became a face of African pop on the global stage. But success this quick always comes with some side eyes. And that's when the Rihanna comparisons started flooding in. Not only because Tyla was young and edgy and rocking high fashion fits, but because people said her entire rollout felt familiar. The swag, the sultry red carpet looks, the messy hair flips. Fans were quick to point out that Rihanna had done it all first. One viral post on X joked, "What did a good girl gone wrong is going on here? Now she's in a new Rihanna era? I'm sorry, but if I was Rihanna, I would genuinely be annoyed and taken aback. Tyla needs to find her own identity immediately." But honestly, y'all can see why people said that. Rihanna built her image as this cool Caribbean girl from Barbados with the crossover potential, and Tyla, the cool girl from South Africa, doing the same thing. Even the industry setup feels copy-paste because Rihanna had Jay-Z and Def Jam backing her, and Tyla has Epic Records pouring millions into viral marketing campaigns to make sure she's the one. But let's not forget the label politics, because insiders claim that Epic has been flooding TikTok and Twitter with paid campaigns since 2022, trying to make sure that Tyla's songs trended before she was even a household name. Her single, Been Thinking, mysteriously popped up on timelines everywhere despite her being unknown at the time. And that same machine rolled out Water, and it worked. People who never searched her name were still being pushed her content, and that's why critics started calling her an industry plant. But here's where it gets really interesting, because normally being compared to Rihanna is a blessing. It puts you in an elite company. But for Tyla, it's starting to feel like a little bit of a curse. She's admitted herself that she looked up to Rihanna because she didn't think non-American girls could make it big. In an interview magazine feature, she said, "I do remember loving the story of Rihanna because she came from outside of America. It made me feel like my dream was achievable because, like you said, it's not something that happens every day for us." But notice the twist. While she's flattered, Tyla also wants out of Rihanna's shadow. She told Cosmopolitan, "But at the same time, I'm my own artist. I'm Tyla. And I know as people get to know me and my music, they will see me as just Tyla." So that's basically her saying, "Stop calling me the new Rihanna, I'm tired of it." But here's the catch. Whether she likes it or not, her career path is almost identical to Rihanna's early grind. But some folks think that it's not a coincidence, it's by design. Because look at how Tyla's being styled at fashion events. She hit the Met Gala 2024 in a custom Balmain sand dress that literally stopped traffic. Then she switched it up at the MTV EMAs with the vintage Roberto Cavalli. Both looks had the same rebellious yet sexy energy that Rihanna used to dominate red carpets with. So when Anna Wintour personally picked Tyla to be on the 2025 Met Gala host committee, the narrative wrote itself. Rihanna 2.0 is here. But here's the problem. Being labeled the next Rihanna comes with some baggage, because if Rihanna feels like Tyla's creeping in her lane, things could get icy real quick. And trust me, Rihanna's not known for being quiet when it comes to protecting her legacy. And that's where the jealousy whispers started. Did Rihanna see Tyla as a threat? Was she annoyed at the comparisons? Fans think that Rihanna's cryptic post about "no weapon formed against me shall prosper" was her subtle way of letting Tyla and the whole industry know that she's untouchable. But before we jump into Rihanna's possible shade, we need to really understand why the industry keeps pushing this narrative and how Tyla's entire come-up feels manufactured to fit Rihanna's exact blueprint. Now, I ain't gonna lie, some of Tyla's looks have been given "come Mr. DJ, come pon the replay" and "SOS, please somebody help me, yeah. It's given both of those, but this is where things get really spicy, because the Rihanna comparisons stopped being just flattering and turned into a full-on battleground. Now, Rihanna has been in this game long enough to know when someone's being positioned as her replacement. She's seen it all before. Labels hyping up the new Rihanna, bloggers claiming some new face is the future of pop, but this time it feels personal. Remember that cryptic post Rihanna dropped, right? "The no weapon formed against me shall prosper. I laugh in the face of those who think otherwise." Well, fans instantly connected the dots. To them, this wasn't just a random Bible verse. It was a warning shot, a way of telling the world, and maybe Tyla directly, that she's unshakable and no copycat can knock her off her throne. One fan wrote, "I don't think Tyla's failure is her fault. It's the people on her team and her fans who ruined her career. They made her think she was more talented than she was. They tried to gaslight us into supporting her because she was brown and could do a little yang around the house." Another person added, "I'm so happy people are starting to realize that Tyla and her team stole her looks, attitude, and everything. Then took it to the USA, and now everyone thinks she's a copycat, light-skin privilege." But here's the kicker. Tyla herself has been playing both sides. On one hand, she praises Rihanna every chance she gets. She told British Vogue, "Coming from somewhere outside the States, I really looked up to her. She made me realize there's another way." On the other hand, her tone has started to shift a little bit when she said, "Rihanna is Rihanna, but I'm my own artist. People will see me as Tyla." Yeah, it sounded polite, but fans swear they caught her throwing some shade. Like that post where she complained about someone secretly recording her. Now, people were reading into it as her calling out industry folks, maybe even Rihanna's camp, for trying to catch her slipping, but whether that's true or not, it fueled the narrative that there's tension brewing behind the scenes. And let's not ignore the other business side. Rihanna's not just an artist anymore. She's a billionaire mogul with Fenty, Savage by Fenty, and a reputation for for being untouchable, and a whole mama of 3 now. So if Tyla's rise threatens that even indirectly, you better believe there'll be some quiet pushback. Labels, fashion houses, and media execs know Rihanna runs the table. If she's not feeling Tyla, doors could close real quick. And that's why fans are now speculating that Rihanna's jealousy isn't just emotional, it might be strategic. They point to how Tyla hasn't gotten certain big collabs yet, even though she's out right now. And no Drake feature, no Beyonce co-sign, no Rihanna duet. For an artist who just had a Grammy-winning viral smash, that's unusual. Could Rihanna be making some calls behind the scenes? Stranger things have happened. Because it's not far-fetched when you remember how cutthroat the industry is. A resurfaced 2005 clip of Rihanna on the Tyra Banks show had her joking that Jay-Z told her there are 2 ways to leave here. Either through the door or the deal signs, or through this window, and we're on the 29th floor.
There are 2 ways to leave here, either through the door with the deal sign or through this window, and we're on the 29th floor.
That story has always haunted fans because it showed just how intense the industry pressures can be. And now with Tyla being seen as Miss Rihanna 2.0, people can't help but wonder if Rihanna's paying that pressure forward, keeping her space by making sure that Tyla never rises too high. But before we get deeper into some sabotage claims, we gotta unpack how Tyla's whole image has been manufactured, from her looks to her sound to the way her label positions her, because once you see the formula, it's hard to unsee that Rihanna blueprint. So now about Tyla's whole come up in these receipts about how manufactured her career really looks. From the jump, Tyla wasn't moving like an independent artist grinding from the bottom. She had a major machine backing her immediately, Epic Records, pushing her from day one. And once you trace how they marketed her, it's hard not to notice the blueprint they're following. Because back in 2022, Tyla wasn't exactly mainstream, but somehow her single Been Thinking kept popping up on timelines. Fans later realized that Epic was allegedly paying major TikTok and Twitter accounts to push her name in clips, making sure she trended whether people asked for it or not. And that's why it feels inorganic, because by the time Water dropped, the campaign was flawless. Every other For You page had a little booty pop Water. Everybody's Explorer feed was full of clips, and Best Believe I was hitting that pop 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 every time. And people said they never even searched Tyla, but it still got recommended to them, and there was flooding the algorithms. But here's the comparison to Rihanna's Getting Louder. When Rihanna first broke out in 2005, Compounded Replay, Def Jam, and Jay-Z branded her as this exotic, fashionable, cool girl next door who could cross over globally. And Tyla's rollout, identical. Rihanna had Barbados, Tyla had South Africa, and Rihanna had Melissa Ford, her bestie and creative sidekick. Tyla's got Thado, her creative director in day one. Well, Rihanna went from Caribbean roots into pop dominance, with all these Tylas being set up to do the same. Start up with Don Piano Alfred Breed's crossover, then slide fully into pop once the audience is locked in. Even Tyla's fashion trajectory mirrors Rihanna's early rise. She went from playful, sexy performances to Met Gala showstoppers to Balmain Sandress to Roberta Cavalli vintage and now Met Gala. And now a Met Gala host committee invite in 2025? That's label branding 101. But here's where it gets controversial. Some critics argue Epic purposefully picked Tyla because of her racial ambiguity. In the US market, non-American pop stars who are light-skinned or ethnically mixed often get marketed as more palatable. Commentators online pointed out that before Tyla, most African women breaking into the US mainstream like Tems and Arya Starr were darker skinned. And Tyla's lighter complexion, Americanized accent, and carefully styled image made her easier to sell to global audiences who aren't used to embracing African women at that scale. I don't know, because Tems definitely got her Drake remix. I will wait for you. For you, I will wait for you. That's my girl. But anyways, Tyla's personality arc feels crafted too. Fans notice how quickly she shifted from being the playful teenager with cute TikTok dances to a sultry high fashion superstar. Almost overnight. And some critics said that she doesn't have one consistent identity. She just morphs into whatever lane her label needs at the time. And if that's the issue, if your brand is built on borrowing, comparisons to Rihanna is not gonna go away. But now think about Rihanna watching all this unfold. She knows the game, she lived it, and now she's seeing a younger artist being rolled up with her exact formula? That makes jealousy speculations way more believable. And it's not just Tyla copying Rihanna's looks, it's Epic Records trying to recreate Rihanna's career from scratch. Because if you're Rihanna, the last thing you want is somebody being positioned as your replacement. Which brings us back to the shade. If Rihanna feels like her identity is being cloned and Tyla feels trapped under Rihanna's shadow, then their tension isn't just personal, it might be structured. So yeah, y'all, this whole Tyla versus Rihanna conversation really blew up once the shade started flying on social media. It began with little things, subtle posts, cryptic captions, and side-eye comments. The fans swore they were aimed at each other. And in today's industry, shade travels faster than music itself. And Tyla's not the type to call people out directly, but her posts often spark conversation. She doubled down in interviews. She just wants to be known in her own lane. With Cosmopolitan, she said, "People want to tie me to something familiar to them, cool, but at the end of the day, we're doing something no one's done before, and it can't really be compared to anyone." Well, that subtle we're doing something no one's done before definitely felt like a little dig. I'm not copying, I'm innovating. Well, meanwhile, Rihanna stayed in character, never saying names, but always knowing how to stir the pot. Her Instagram post, "No weapon formed against me shall prosper," wasn't just a random faith quote. For the Navy, Rihanna's fans, that was their queen telling the world she's untouchable. Now for Tyla's fans, it was Rihanna low-key admitting that she sees Tyla as a threat. Either way, it sparks a firestorm online, with debates about whether Rihanna was shading or just preaching. But the mess really escalated when Cardi B jumped in, and she just couldn't stand the way that Tyla was being dragged online, especially with the Rihanna comparisons. Cardi said, "Every single time I scroll on my TikTok, there's a video of her and people are talking ish, and it's like, god dang, what do you want her to effing do? Cut her effing veins?" Yo, that was raw, and it put the spotlight back on how toxic fan wars have gotten. Cardi's words didn't just defend Tyla, they also called out the industry that's setting her up to fail by forcing her into Rihanna's shadow. And of course, fans did what fans do, turn the shade into a full-on war. Some accused Tyla of being obsessed with Rihanna's style. Others swore Rihanna was jealous because she hasn't released new music in years, while Tyla's dominating charts and fashion carpets. One comment read, "Tyla's success ain't organic. They manufactured her whole brand to be Rihanna light." Of course, Rihanna's annoyed. Nobody wants to be replaced in their own lifetime. Another said, "I love how people have been trying to claim that Tyla copies Rihanna, and instead of Tyla being bitter about it, she continues to list Rihanna as one of her inspirations. That's how you know she's secure and genuine." But then both sides are throwing some gas on the fire, and suddenly what started as an innocent comparison turned into a storyline of sabotage and jealousy. But what makes it interesting even more is just not the shade, it's what it means for Tyla's future. Shade in the industry isn't just petty, it affects opportunities and that's money. And if Rihanna doesn't vibe with Tyla, will fashion houses hesitate to book her? Will certain collabs get blocked? That's why fans keep speculating that Rihanna's jealousy isn't just emotional. It could be actively limiting Tyla's growth. And Tyla knows it. That's why she keeps stressing her individuality, because if she doesn't break free from Rihanna's shadow, she risks being remembered as nothing more than a copycat. And that's where it gets dangerous, because when you mix industry politics and personal egos, it stops from being just about shade, it becomes sabotage, and some insiders swear Rihanna might be doing exactly that behind the scenes. But at this point, it's bigger than Tyla and Rihanna. Rihanna said, "Want you to make me feel like I'm the only girl in the world." And at this point, it's bigger than that. What we're seeing is a clash between an established icon and a manufactured successor, and the way the industry profits from that drama. The music industry thrives on rivalries, from Nicki to Cardi to Beyonce to Ciara. These narratives just keep fans locked in, and Tyla versus Rihanna is the latest version, except this time the stakes are global. Tyla represents a new generation of African artists breaking out into the US mainstream, and Rihanna represents a would-be gatekeeper who can make it all possible. But here's the danger. If Rihanna sees Tyla as a threat, she doesn't even have to say Tyla's name. Rihanna's influence in the fashion, music, and business is enough to quietly block collaborations, restrict sponsorships, and still stall momentum. And if doors start closing, people won't blame Rihanna. They'll just say Tyla fell off. Now, not all of this is Rihanna's doing, though. Some critics argue Tyla's team played themselves by leaning so hard into this Rihanna formula, by copying the blueprint too closely. They invite those comparisons that could weigh her down. But y'all, these whispers just won't stop, because Rihanna hasn't dropped an album in dang near a decade. Tyla's already Grammy certified, already front row at Paris Fashion Week, already hosting Nickelodeon award shows with Pharrell and DJ Khaled. But that's enough to make anybody look twice. Tyla versus Rihanna drama is more than a fan war, it's a case study on how the industry recycles stars. When one legend slows down, the machine builds the next one. But the danger is clear. If If you remind people too much of the OG, you'll never escape their shadow. For Tyla, that means her future depends on one thing, finding her own identity. And if she keeps letting people call her the new Rihanna, she'll always be second. But if she can flip that script, maybe with a sound switch, maybe with some raw storytelling in her music, she might just carve out a lane Rihanna can't touch. And that's exactly why this drama matters, because Tyla's either about to become the next global superstar or the next casualty of industry sabotage. So let's be realistic for a millisecond. Tyla's shade at Rihanna isn't just about ego, it could be about survival. She's fighting to prove she's not a clone, while Rihanna's out here reminding the world that she's the only girl in the world. And until one of them addresses the tension directly, fans are gonna keep fueling this fire. And Tyla's gotta bring more than water. So drop your thoughts and comments below, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. And stay tuned because you need